Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory Mclean coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. On Sunday, September the 4th, Pope Francis beatified Pope John Paul I, who is popularly known as the Smiling Pope. The Beatification Mass was celebrated by Cardinal Marcello Semeraro, though Pope Francis was also present in St. Peter's Square, along with around 25,000 believers. In his homily, Pope Francis said Pope John Paul I managed to communicate the goodness of the Lord with a smile. He remarked how beautiful is a church with a happy, serene and smiling face that never closes doors, never hardens hearts, and never harbours resentment. Cardinal Albino Luciani of Venice was elected as the successor of Pope Paul VI on August the 26th in 1978, but his pontificate lasted only 33 days, as he died of a cardiac arrest on September the 28th of that same year. He was the first pope in history to choose a double name and to decline coronation with the papal tiara. Instead, he opted for a simple investiture with the pallium. On Saturday, Pope Francis issued a decree promulgating the new constitutional charter of the Sovereign Military Hospitaller Order of St. John of Jerusalem of Rhodes and Malta. Along with the constitution, the associated Militanese Code of the centuries-old order also came into effect. The decree states that the current Sovereign Council stands dissolved. Pope Francis also constituted a Provisional Sovereign Council by including Grand Commander Fra Emanuele Rousseau, Grand Chancellor Riccardo Partero di Montecupo, Grand Hospitaller Fra Alessandro De Franciscis, and Receiver of the Common Treasure Fabrizio Colonna. As per the new decree, there will be an extraordinary general chapter on January the 25th, that being the feast of the conversion of St. Paul the Apostle. The Knights of Malta is a Catholic religious order dating back to the 11th century, and it enjoys sovereign status in the international community. As Catholic churches and establishments continue to face attacks across the United States, Republican lawmaker Lisa McClain has slammed the silence of the Department of Justice. McClain spoke on Fox News recently, during which she vented her frustration over the department's apathy in tackling attacks on churches. She accused the Department of Justice of not taking action because church attacks do not fit their narrative. McLean said the Attorney General and the Department of Justice are obliged to uphold the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment. She said that instead of focusing on over 160 attacks on Catholic churches and institutions, the DOJ is focusing on parents at school board meetings. Ms. McClain said this is shameful and disgraceful, and is why the American people are so frustrated with Attorney General Merrick Garland. Since 2020, more than 160 churches and church-run institutions have been either vandalised or torched across American states. In Canada, 2 men went on a stabbing spree, killing 10 people and injuring 15 others on Sunday. The incident took place in the Indigenous community of James Smith Cree Nation and the neighbouring town of Weldon in Saskatchewan. The stabbings took place across 13 crime scenes and were the deadliest in recent history. Police said the 2 men in their early 30s were seen travelling in a black Nissan Rogue in the provincial capital of Regina, which is 200 miles away from where the stabbings took place. In the province, police have issued a dangerous persons alert, as have authorities in nearby Alberta and in Manitoba. Apostolic Nuncio to Syria, Cardinal Mario Zenari, has appealed to world nations not to allow the war-torn Middle Eastern country to become a beggar state. During a press meet in Rome, the Cardinal said that Syrians are undergoing a deep and protracted political and socio-economic crisis because of the ongoing conflict. Cardinal Zenari said that the focus on the war in Ukraine has pushed the Syrian situation into oblivion. According to the United Nations, as many as 13.5 million Syrians are in need of aid, and 11.5 million have no access to healthcare. The press briefing on Friday was hosted to commemorate the Open Hospitals project in Syria, which is supported by the Pope. This project supports existing healthcare facilities in the war-torn country. In an interview with an Italian television channel, Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin spoke about the Holy See's agreement with China on the nomination of bishops. During the interview with news channel TG2 on Friday, the Cardinal expressed hope that the provisional agreement will be renewed. He said the pact is aimed at ensuring that all bishops in China are in full communion with Rome and fully Catholic. The Cardinal said that when negotiating with someone, one must always start by recognizing their good faith. The Secretary of State also pointed out that a delegation from the Holy See has gone to China to continue discussions to iron out differences and overcome obstacles. It was in 2018 that the Sino-Vatican agreement was signed by both nations. On Saturday, September the 3rd, the British capital of London witnessed thousands taking part in this year's March for Life. The overturning of Roe v. Wade by the US Supreme Court created a ripple effect in the UK, bringing a large number of young people to the rally. According to Madeleine Page, Chief Executive Officer of the Alliance of Pro-Life Students, there has been a steady increase in the number of young people at pro-life events ever since the news of the repeal of Roe v. Wade came from America in June. During the event, one of the keynote speakers was Sean Carney, the founder of 40 Days for Life, the biggest pro-life outfit in the world. He reminded the participants of the prophetic words of Mother Teresa, who said the world will follow when America ends abortion. The march ended in a gathering at Parliament Square. The United Nations has blamed China for serious human rights violations in Xinjiang province. In a long-awaited report, the UN assessed the claims of abuse against Uyghur Muslims and other ethnic minorities, a charge which Beijing denies. The report cites investigators who have found credible evidence of torture in Xinjiang amounting to crimes against humanity. A separate BBC report has unearthed police files with details of those suffering incarceration, and they support the charges of rape, torture, and forced sterilisation. China had pressured the UN not to release the report, which they have labelled a farce of Western countries. Over the years, human rights organisations have alleged that more than 1 million Uyghur Muslims have been detained in several re-education camps. Millions of believers in Peru will assemble in the capital Lima next month for the annual procession of the Lord of Miracles. For the first time in 2 years, the city will witness an inflow of believers for the procession. The decision to hold the procession this year was announced by Archbishop Carlos Castillo Matasoleo of Lima at the end of Holy Mass on Sunday. Also known as Christ of Pachacamilla, the Lord of Miracles is an image of the crucified Christ on an earthen wall that is preserved in the sanctuary of Las Nazarenas in the capital. Believers say the image is miraculous, as it has withstood several earthquakes since the 17th century. This image is a main symbol of Peruvian Catholicism and attracts millions to the annual procession. In Myanmar, the ruling military junta's court has sentenced ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi to 3 years in jail. She was charged with electoral fraud in the 2020 polls, during which her party had a landslide victory. Suu Kyi is reported to have been given a jail sentence along with hard labour. Ever since the junta came to power last year, the leader has been under detention on a barrage of charges and was given 17 years imprisonment. The trial was held in the capital city and her lawyers were barred from answering the queries of journalists. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And remember, you can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.